Sorry.
Watch this, guys. You can actually pinpoint the second when her heart rips in half. Hello, and welcome. And yes, the childhood friend, the losingest of the losing heroines. Rooting for the childhood friend to win in a rom-com is like rooting for your favorite horse to win the Indy 500. It's not gonna go well. But what if I told you that there is a series out there where the childhood friend gets a win that she deserves? No, not that one. Because there's a manga where the childhood friend wins, and wins again. That manga is none other than Osana Najimi wo Arabanai, or I Can't Choose a Childhood Friend, which is why you should join me as I continue my journey to discover the perfect manga. Our story begins with Suzukaze, a real loner, someone who takes the easiest path in life, because why bother struggling? Having social obligations leads to a life full of worry, and walking along this path he comes across a girl who couldn't be bothered getting further lost to school. The two strike up a conversation with Yu mentioning that she shouldn't get close, as he's already made up his mind with whom he likes. After all, he doesn't want to have to worry about making too many choices. You see, 10 years prior, he spent a summer hanging out with a girl every day who became his best friend, and only when she left did he realize how much he liked her. Yu decides to show the girl how to get to school since she couldn't be bothered to find any other way to do so. However, she loses something along the way. Yu wonders how she's able to head back despite inevitably being late on her first day, and realizes that he shouldn't hesitate anymore. He needs to be honest with his feelings and not let such a wonderful thing pass him by again. He picks the girl up and takes her back to where they met that morning as she finds the item she's been looking for, a shrine charm, specifically the same kind that Yu has. The only one he know who would have the same charm would have been that same girl he hung out with and has been in love with for 10 years. Realizing who she is, he calls out to her, confessing his feelings to Machihashi Karin, his childhood friend and love of his life. The two embrace, realizing their feelings for one another as they barely make it on time to school. They manage to get to class, and to introduce herself, Karin writes her name on the chalkboard. Both Karins. Confused, and rightfully so, both Karins introduce themselves to the rest of the class. There's the outgoing and boisterous Karin that is also experiencing her first day at Yu's school, and the regal, can't-be-bothered Karin who met with Yu earlier that morning. Due to their conflicting personalities, both Karins clash for Yu's love. They each have the same shrine charm, so aren't they both the true Karins? Despite the fact that Karin 10 years ago only had one. In fact, other than their personalities, everything about each other is the exact same. Their names, birthmarks, childhood memories. The only reasonable explanation for all of this is the shrine charm is actually a sentient spirit brought to power by Yu's endless prayers. For 10 years, he's prayed every day 10 times a day, until his prayers have become too powerful, leading the Tsukumogami, or charm spirit, to split Karin up into multiple personalities.
In just 2 years, I went from being over 500 pounds to being two men who weigh 250 pounds.
Both Karins are the real Karin, and now Yu has to make a choice between them. One will get to be with Yu, and the other will become No Game No Life Season 2. No pressure, kid. Yu, who's lived his life since parting ways with Karin, avoiding making choices and taking the straightforward path, now has to make the hardest choice of his and Karin's life. Just think about Yu's perspective at this point. He finally got what he wished for, however now he's got too much of a bargain, as both Karins make a perfect case why they should be chosen. However, either version is still the same Karin he spent that summer and fell in love with. He doesn't want half of her to vanish, and neither do the Karins, who begin to trust and befriend one another, even to the point where they want Yu to choose the other version of them. But Yu learned from each of the Karins that he doesn't need to go with the path he's been given, and he shouldn't run from the right choice. So, he chooses them both. The Tsukumogami did say to choose one person, so he chose the same person, twice, as he loudly proclaims his love to each. And thus begins our story, a harem where the MC dates the same girl multiple times. Not like in pseudo harem, no, this is a full-fledged true harem rom-com, where every girl is the same girl just with different personalities. Which makes sense when you think about it, since he isn't really two-timing her if he's dating the same girl. This is a part of the video where I make clear that I am not a relationship expert. Please do not take me seriously. But Yu is genuine in his love of Karin. He fell in love with her all those years ago, and that includes every version of her. As the story progresses, more develops in the lives of the Karins. First, they discover that yes, they do live in the same home and have the same mother. In fact, they're identical twin sisters. The two do accept Yu's confession and agree to date him, as he's determined to make all the Karins equally happy. He doesn't want any of them to disappear, or rather, he wants to be the greatest boyfriend he could be to every form she may take. Which brings me to what makes the series work and any good harem work for me, and that is Yu himself. A great main character is what makes a harem great. The story must depend on this, since after all, who would ever willingly join a harem unless you're a winner by dating the protagonist? They just have to be that great of a person. Let me break down what makes some of my favorite harems work and how the MC of those stories brings everything together. Now Yamukai might not be the sharpest tool in the shed, he may be a few potatoes short of a salad, and already had a girlfriend before he started dating his second, but his harem is built on his sincerity, which he might have too much of, but sincerity nonetheless. Rentarou Ijo's harem is based around going above and beyond what's reasonably expected of a lover and always putting others first. Rudius Greyrat's harem is based around the women who've healed him from his trauma and needing a well-balanced Pokemon team. Anzu Hoshino's harem is based on her blunt, forceful personality, but always treating others the best that they deserve. Keita Maizumi's harem is based around his raw power, and in the case of Yu Suzukaze, his harem is based around the sheer amount of love he has for his childhood friend. He has loved Karin so long, and I understand. I love Karin too. And now with all of them as his girlfriend, he won't ever let any of them down. This series is still pretty new, but already Yu's shown off again and again that he's the real deal. He'll do everything he can and then some to make sure that Karin wins. All of them. And it's not just the first two, who, by the way, go by different names now, since having two sisters with the same name is...
Roy, that's nuts! Her sister wouldn't have the same name.
I don't know. My brother Roy says it happens more than you think.
Quite confusing. Regal Can't Be Bothered Karin is Himeka, and Outgoing Gyaru is Galka. And along the way, we've seen a few other Karins join as Yu confesses his love to each of them, and sometimes they aren't as into the whole harem idea as Himeka and Galka are. For instance, the third Karin is extremely shy to the point of finding basic communication with the others to be difficult, even though she is them. Also, I love how whenever a new Karin appears, their house gets bigger and nobody in the world finds it odd that more Karins keep appearing except for Yu and Karin herself. In fact, I looked it up. The current world record for most babies born at the same time is 9. So at the end of this series, her mother may have retroactively broken the record.
You can do it, Miss Machiashi! I believe in you! Believe in the Karins who believe in you!
But who knows how many Karins we'll see eventually, and each time a new one appears, she's completely different from the others despite the fact that they are the same person. Same memories, same love for you. It really reminds me of something I said in my first 100 Girlfriends video.
Since women come in all shapes and sizes, such as octahedron and rhombus.
But here, it's woman. The very beginning of the series shows off 6 different Karins we'll see, but there could be more. This series could become known as the Spectacular Sextuplets, the Outstanding Octuplets, the Determined Duodecaplets.
Are there any other Squidwards I should know about?
Now, I do want to bring up the other harems I've mentioned before, since after all, I've titled this video the sequel to 100 Girlfriends. I'm a huge fan of that series, and Yu does come off like a more realistic version of Rentarou. He's not the eldritch amalgamation of love incarnate that Rentarou is, putting everything about his girlfriends above meager desires. like sleep, but he tries his best. Yu is an extremely likable protagonist, but the harem MC that he actually reminds me the most of is Rudius Grey Rat. In one reason and one reason only, much like what Rudy says to himself before deciding to take a second wife, Yu learns from his past 10 years of longing for Karin that he's tired of carrying regrets. He wants to make a choice he's proud of. And as we'll see moving forward with the story, he'll be tested time after time with the future Karins as well as the ones he's already dating. However, he's determined. He's prepared to do whatever it takes to make sure Karin always comes out on top. Even if they fight, even if they can't get along, what matters to Yu most is to see the love of his life, all of her, shine brighter than any star. There is one other thing you could say about Yu, Nalia, Rentarou, and Keita. They are all going to single-handedly reverse Japan's declining birth rate. Somewhere out there, he's smiling. Though I am surprised that this all started due to Yu continuously praying to a shrine charm. I actually have several of these from various shrines I've been to in Japan, including this one, which is meant for good travels. I wonder what's something you can wish for that comes with various forms of transportation.
Why haven't I been isekai yet? Why, God? Why, you bastard? Why haven't I been isekai and been sent on a journey to defeat the Demon Lord and be given a cool sword or an axe or a scythe? And don't tell me that it's not a practical weapon. It looks cool. And why haven't I been able to fight demons and dragons and get like an elf girl harem or maybe even a demon girl harem? And, you know what? Throw a dwarf in there too because you guys really want me to make a dwarf video, but there aren't as many anime dwarfs as you think there are.
As this manga brings us one step closer to finding, you okay there, buddy? The perfect manga. Hey, thanks for watching. I know I haven't done a manga review in only 2 years, and the last manga I covered ended just a few months after I made that video, but truth be told, I just find it a lot easier to cover anime. I like manga videos, but I do find them more difficult to make, so I'd like to keep making more to get better used to them. I've also been wanting to make this video since October, but I wanted the series to get a few more chapters before I really dug into it. There's another harem series that I'm planning to cover in the near future, but that video will be a bit more ambitious. Also, huge shoutouts to Tuesday, who's working on both 100 Girlfriends and this series. Which, by the way, I just had an interview with Travis Mullenix, the voice actor for Rentarou himself. If you enjoyed this video, then be sure to sub Machihashi for more Karins. Next up is the ultimate guide for the summer season, which is gonna be insane. I'm so looking forward to what's coming out. I can't believe what's on deck. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.